Hey Extreme, I'm so excited that you guys are joining us for week 3 of our series called Healthy Habits. We have been looking at Stephen Covey's book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and our series versus Proverbs 22:6, which says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he grows old, he will not depart from it. So far, we've talked about the first 2 habits. We've learned that we are in control of the way that we choose to respond to people and situations. We've also learned that it's important to set goals so we know where we want to go in life. This week, we'll be talking about our 3rd habit. Healthy habit number 3 is called put first things first. I think it's really helpful for us to think about our goals from habit number 2, so from last week, for this new habit. So now that we have some really big ideas about what we want to do or where we want to end up in life, like maybe we want to be financially independent, maybe we picked that we want to serve others. Take those ideas now and it will help us to make our daily decisions about which things to put first, right? Putting the right things first. Some of you might already have an idea what this means. We're talking about what are our priorities. But sometimes just because we know that there are things we should do, it doesn't always mean that we are doing them. And sometimes we need help figuring out like what are those things that we should be doing? Or what ways should we be doing them in? We need to remember that time is a limited resource. It doesn't matter what we do, there's always only going to be 24 hours in a day. So we spend a big chunk of that sleeping, which is fine, it's great. Sleep is important. It's important for your bodies to get enough rest, right? But what do you do with those leftover times? Now, sometimes you don't get to pick, right? So right now, if you were in school, you'd spend another huge chunk of your day in school and you wouldn't get a say in that, right? You'd have to go. But sometimes there are parts of your day that you do get to pick. So what you choose to do with those times is really important, okay? We have to be careful with the way that we use that time that we have left. For the most part, we want to be spending our time on those things that are important, the things that we should be spending our time on, okay? But how do we figure that out? This week we have a tool with a really fancy name called the Time Management Matrix. And I think that this visual will help you kind of use it to think about, okay, where does this thing go in my life? Okay, we can rank it in importance kind of, okay? So we're going to look at this. Okay, so I'm going to try to turn this. And I did try this earlier and it worked, but y'all bear with me here. Okay, so here is our time management matrix. Okay, so we have up here at the top, we have urgent and things that are not urgent. Okay, so urgent means things that need to be done at a certain time, or maybe it's right now it has to be done, right? Maybe there's a deadline. Those things are urgent, okay? Then we have things that are important and we have things that are not important. So basically 4 categories, right? And you guys understand how this works. So if something falls in quadrant 1, we know that it is both important and it is urgent. But if something falls in quadrant 4, we know it's not important and it's not urgent, okay? So those are probably the things that you want to put at the bottom of your list, right? When you're thinking about your day. So I have some things to put on there, okay? So when we're thinking about our day, there's a lot of things that we have to do, right? Or there's things that come up, okay? And we know that when we're talking about our priorities, I've made a sticky note called time with Jesus, okay? We know that spending time with Jesus every day is so important. It is definitely urgent because we need to do it every day. So it's something that we have to do, right? Important to us. So I would put this in the urgent and important quadrant, okay? Time with Jesus. I need to make sure I'm doing that every day, okay? Also, then I'm going to look at a couple of other things. So like I put answering the phone, okay? So answering the phone is urgent because you have a limited amount of time, right? If you don't get it after so many rings, it's going to go to voicemail. You're going to miss the call. But like how many of our phone calls are really that important? A lot of them are coming from telemarketers, so probably a lot of them are not important. So we're going to put answering the phone in our not important but urgent. Okay, so this is something that you kind of need to do in a certain amount of time, but it's not the most important thing. So if I'm doing something really important, this might get knocked off the list, right? I might be like, okay, I'll call them back later if it's important, okay? We also have some ideas like, okay, something that's really relevant in your lives normally, but maybe not right now, is studying for tests, okay? So if I have a test coming up next week and I need to study for it, studying, y'all, is important, okay? We want to do well. If we set that goal last week that we want to be financially independent and that we want to, maybe you've even chosen a career, you know that a lot of careers you're going to have to study, right? You're going to have to know things. So studying is, of course, very important. But if my test is not until next week, then even though it's important, that's not really urgent, right? So I'm going to put it in this quadrant here, okay? I need to do it, but I've got some time, right? I can think about this. Now, if I have a test tomorrow, that's going to fall in my urgent and important, okay? I definitely need to do that right away, ASAP, right? Okay. Washing the dishes, okay? It's very important that we do what our parents tell us, right? It's very important that we learn now how to be obedient. But maybe this is not an urgent thing, okay? It's important. I need to do it. My parents told me to do it. But maybe they told me at the beginning of the day and they just said, hey, will you wash the dishes today? Not urgent, right? I've got all day to do this, right? So I'm going to put this in the important but not urgent category here, okay? But I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this before, but what if you're having company and people are coming over and it's going to come up pretty soon, right? For me, this is something that's got to be done really soon, really fast, ASAP, right? We've got company coming over. They're going to be here in an hour. We got to get this house ready to go. So that's something that would fall into the urgent and important, right? We don't want people to come over and think we're slobs, right? So urgent and important. Planning and setting goals. We talked last week about how important goal setting is. That is still important, right? And it is something that we want to do. Now, is it super urgent? Depends on what you're talking about, right? But for the most part, this is going to be important, not urgent, okay? So you can get to it when you get to it, okay? But you do need to set some time aside to make sure that you get to that, okay? Okay, I have this Xbox Live at 8 o'clock. So let's say you have a bunch of friends who are like, okay, I need you to get on at 8 o'clock. We're going to play a game. This is going to be so fun. I'm going to say that it's urgent because there's a time, right? There's a deadline. I have to do this at 8 o'clock or nobody else is going to be on, right? But I'm also going to say that this is probably not important. Video games, probably there's better things to do with our time. But now we do enjoy video games, right? So it's okay to do things that you enjoy, right? But you got to think about in your limited resource of time, where do I need to spend mine? And this is probably not always going to make the cut. But I think that some of these things can shift around depending on the situations. Let's say that I have a friend who's having a really hard time. Well, in that case, if they're going to be on this Xbox Live, if they're going to be playing and I can encourage them, and I can love on them, well, you know what? That's one of my goals is I want to love on people. I want to take care of people. So that might move this up into your important and urgent category, okay? So think about the situation, and it's okay to be flexible with the things that you're thinking. Now, social media in general, not important, also not urgent. I know we feel like it is, but we can live without it, okay? Same thing I would say with normal video games. Like if you're just going to play on your Xbox by yourself, if you're going to, this is, again, not important, not urgent. And it's okay to have things that are not important, not urgent, but when you're thinking about your time, there's only so much of it, and you've got to choose the right things, right? You have to choose the best use of your time to help you to meet your goals. So I don't expect you to do this every single time you have decisions to make or every single time you're planning your day, but I thought this visual would be helpful so when something comes up, you could ask yourself, okay, I've got a choice here. What choice should I make? And thinking about, okay, was this important? And is it something I have to do right now? Hopefully will help you kind of plan out the way that you spend your time better. So I thought that would be helpful. I have another scripture to share with you guys today, and it is Matthew 6:33. It says, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. And I think that's important that it says seek first his kingdom, right? So when we're talking about putting first things first and doing the right thing right, let's always keep number one, seeking God and his kingdom, right? Don't forget that time with Jesus, whether it's reading your Bible or whether it's praying or just spending some time talking to him, y'all. Remember how important that is, okay? And I love the context of the rest of this because it's talking about not worrying, okay? And it goes on to tell you, like, there are things in our lives that we worry about, but that we shouldn't. God is going to take care of us as long as we do what we're supposed to do, and that's to seek him first. He's going to take care of us. So I want to leave you guys with that encouragement today. Thank you guys so much for watching our video. Y'all go look for week number 4 next week. I can't wait to see you guys. A lot of you have seen on Zoom calls, and it's been really fun, okay? I'll see you guys later. Bye.